So good morning students. Today I am going to start the class of zoology 5.1. Okay, in 5.1 what is the topic means, that is cell and molecular biology. Cell and molecular biology. In that cell and molecular biology, the first unit is that it is the cell theory. What is the first chapter and the unit? That is the cell theory. So today we will discuss some basic information about our introduction of cell. Then we will go for the cell theory. Okay. So here you see, first we will discuss what do you mean by cell. In the introduction class, first, that is, we will talk about what do you mean by cell. Cell, it is one of the basic structural and functional unit of life. What is cell? It is basic structural and functional unit of life. Okay, see here, on this universe, there will be presence of many number of living organisms. Okay, and all that living organisms are composed of cells. Okay, what is that? All living organisms. All living organisms. All living means, why we are calling them as the life? Why we are calling them as the living? Because this living means they are composed of the cells. Okay, so that is the reason we are calling the cells as the basic structural and functional unit of life, or the living organisms. Okay, that is the reason we are calling it as the living organisms will have the life, because they are composed of what? They are composed of cells. Okay, so here all living organisms, but among all the living organisms, one organism is there. What it is means, that is the virus, except viruses. You know, you are familiar with the term, that is viruses. Okay, so here except viruses, all the living organisms are composed of what? Of one or more cells, more number of cells. As you had familiar with the term that living organisms are of two types, that is unicellular, and one more, that is multicellular. The reason we are telling here that all living organisms are composed of one or more. Only one single cell organism, that we are calling it as the unicellular organisms. Okay, that is also existing on this universe, as well as many number of cells, or the living organisms which are composed of many number of cells. They are also present or composing a living organism, and that we can consider it as the multicellular organisms. Okay, so here cells altogether we can say the cells are the structural and functional unit of life. So next here that in this 5.1 syllabus, what is the topic over here means, that is the cell and molecular biology. So first we are discussing about the cell biology. First we will see this is the basic information of cell. Okay, see why living organisms are life means, because it is composed of cells. In these cells there is a presence of cell organelles. What it is present? That it is the cell organelles. So these cell organelles, or altogether these cells will undergo into a process or a chemical reaction, some reactions that it is known as the metabolism. What it is? That it is the metabolism, due to which it produces the energy, and that energy will be provided to the cells, and that cells will function in our body to provide a proper energy to our body. Okay, so this is about the cell. Next we will see about the cell biology. Next that it is cell biology. What do you mean by cell biology? Okay, this is one of the branch of biological science. What it is? It is one of the branch of biological science which deals with the study of structure, function, then organization, then growth, reproduction, then and genetics of cells. Okay, so this definition of cell biology, it is one of the branch of what? Biological science. Okay, where it deals with the study of the structure, whatever the shape, size. Okay, that is the structure. Function, what the function they are performing. Okay, structure, function, organization. What is the organization? Whether it is at tissue level, whether it is at organ level or organ system level, that organization. Growth. Okay, cell is a living. That is the reason it will undergo into a process of growth. They have the ability of growth and division. Okay, then reproduction. Reproduction means they will divide to form the newer cells. Then genetics of the cells. Okay, whatever the genes which are present inside the cells or inside the nucleus, that is the genetics of the cell. Altogether, this branch of science which is dealing with all the information, that is structure, function, organization, growth, reproduction, metabolism, then genetics, altogether we can call it as the cell biology. Otherwise, one more term is there for this cell biology. Cell, it is also known as the, either it is known as the cell biology, or one more term is there that it is known as the cytology. What it is? That it is the cytology. Okay, so these studies of cell biology result, so it is used to formulate to understand how cell type carries out its specific function. Whatever the cell biology or cytology is there, which this is one of the branch of biological science. What is the advantage? How it is helping to the scientists or researchers or whoever studying the cell biology means they are used to understand how cells are formed, what is the origin of the cell, what is the function, what is the structure. So all these things we can go through with the help of the cell biology or cytology. It is one particular branch of science. So next here, cell biology has been studied by following three avenues. What are that? Let's see. Cell biology has been studied by following three avenues. What are the three avenues means? The first is the classical cytology. What it is? That it is the classical cytology. What do you mean by this classical cytology means? Here it deals only with light microscopically visible structure of the cell. Visible structure of the cell. Okay, this is in the classical cytology. This cell biology or cytology, it is further studied in three different groups. What are the three different groups? Means among that, the first one is the classical cytology. In that classical cytology, what you will study means it deals only with the structure of the cells, which cannot be seen with our naked eyes. Altogether, the cells cannot be seen with the naked eyes. See, by using the light microscope, which microscope? That it is the light microscope. See, microscopes are of different types, such as the simple microscope, compound microscope, light microscope. So among that, whatever the structure of the cell is visible through the light microscope, that structure will studied under the classical cytology. Okay, see, there will be different structures in the cell. Some of these structures are not studied or not visible with the help of compound or simple microscope. So they are going to use for light microscope. Altogether, that structure which can be visible with the light microscope, they are studied under the classical cytology. Then second one is there, that is the cell physiology. Second is the cell physiology. Here it deals with the biochemistry. It deals with the biochemistry and biophysics. Biochemistry and biophysics and functions of the cells. And the functions of the cell. Here they had given the biochemistry. Biochemistry means here, see, cell. Cell is there. This is the cell. Here in this cell there will be presence of one of the most important cell organelle, that is the nucleus. This nucleus has the chromosomes. What does it have? It has the chromosomes. Okay, that chromosomes will have the genes, and this chromosomes is made up of certain chemical constituents. What are that means? Such as deoxyribonucleic acid, ribonucleic acid. Okay, such chemical constituent will be present. So study of that particular biological chemicals, we can call it as the biochemistry. See, these chromosomes are made up of DNA, RNA, and certain proteins. So altogether we can say them as the chemicals. So that chemicals which are forming a particular genes, okay, which is one of the genetic material. So that is the biochemistry. Next, biophysics. Okay, biophysics. What you will study in the biophysics? What do you mean by biophysics means? See, some of the techniques are there which is applied on the cells, such as centrifugation is there, electrophoresis is there. Then many techniques are there which is related with the physics. Okay, or the physical techniques will be there that we will. Why we are using these techniques means to know the structure and function of the cell. Okay, so it deals with cell physiology, deals with the biochemistry and biophysics and functionality. For what reason we are using that two topics over here, that is biochemistry and biophysics, means that is for the to know, to understand the functions of the cells. Okay, and third one, that it is the cell biology. What it is? That it is the cell biology. And what are the macromolecules, means such as nucleic acids and proteins? What are the macromolecules? That is the nucleic acids and proteins. Okay, so the lastly, the cell biology, it deals with the in terms of molecules, and what are the molecules? That it is the macromolecules, that it is nucleic acid and proteins. Okay, next we will see about the discovery of the cell and the discovery of its organelles. Now next, that it is discovery of cell and its organelles. Discovery of cell and its organelles. And its organelles. Okay, here who first discovered the cell? The cell, it was first discovered by a English scientist. The name of that person is Robert Brown. Okay, cell, it was first discovered in the year, that is also important, discovered in 1665. Okay, 1665 by a English scientist and the name of that particular scientist is that it is Robert Hooke. Who is the person who is first discovered the cell? So, cell, it was first discovered in the year 1665 by whom? Means that is by the Robert Hooke. Okay, how he discovered the first cell? Means he saw cells for the first time in thin slice of cork cambium. You are familiar with the term that is the cork cambium, which is present on the bark of the tree trunk or the tree stem, what we call it. Okay, so there, see here, he saw this person, Robert Hooke, how he discovered the cell means he saw cells for the first time. He saw cells for the first time in a first time in thin slice of cork, in thin slice of cork with his crude microscope. Means that microscope is not too much powerful or too much modified. Okay, in that, in his such crude microscope only he has discovered the cell for the first time. In his crude microscope. Okay, so here Robert discovered the cell. How means he saw in the slice. See here, for example, this is the tree trunk on which there is the presence of cambium, that is a cork cambium. Okay, so that cork cambium or the cork, in that particular thin slice of that particular cork, he saw some of the cells. In that sense, he discovered the cell for the first time. Okay, so how he described the cell means how he saw what will be the shape of that particular cell. When he first saw that cell means Robert described that after seeing into the crude microscope, what he said means Robert described that he described the cell. He described the cork is, see, whatever the cork he has taken from the plant, so that cork it is made up of many number of hexagonal boxes, okay, or many number of hexagonal boxes. Okay, hexagonal means which will be having 6-sided. So for example, he has taken a slice of what? Of cork. In that cork, what he saw means he saw like these cells, hexagonal cells, which is similar to the beehive or the bee comb, what we call it. Commonly, in this sense, there is a presence of many number of or 100 number of. Many means how much means that it is 100 number of cells which are present in this hexagonal shaped cells. Okay, so in this way he saw many boxes, many number of boxes. Then it is giving a honeycomb experience. Then he called these little boxes. These are little hexagonal. It was very small. Okay, very small. It was little hexagonal boxes, and he gave that hexagonal boxes, little hexagonal boxes, as name as the cells. What he gave as the cells. In this way, he described the cells. Okay, so this is about the discovery of what? Cell. Later, we will discuss who was the persons or who was the scientist who has discovered the particular other cell organs which are present in the cell. So let's see about that one. Next, that it is next person will come here. That is the Robert Brown. What is the name of that person? That it is the Robert Brown. Second person discovering the cell organelle. That is the Robert Brown. So here, this Robert Brown, who is the Scottish botanist. Scottish botanist. So what he discovered means in the year 1833, he discovered and named the nucleus in the cell. What he discovered? In 1833, he discovered the nucleus. Okay, what he discovered? Discovered and named the nucleus. Okay, he gave the name to the nucleus as well as he discovered the nucleus. Okay, the next person will come, whose name is third person, that is the J.E. Purkinje. J.E. Purkinje. This is the third person. In 1839, he gave the term protoplasm. Okay, or discovered or used, gave the term. What is that? That is the protoplasm. What he discovered and what the name he had given, that is the protoplasm. To what particular, to which cell organelle he had gave the name protoplasm means, which is, see, protoplasm, it is one of the living substance present inside the cell. Okay, in this sense, this J.E. Purkinje has been discovered the protoplasm in the cell. Okay, the next that is about the cell theory. Next topic, we will go for the cell theory. Okay. Come to the main topic of your syllabus, that is the cell theory. See here, cell theory. So first we will see who has discovered the cell theory. Here also one botanist is there. That is the, see here, cell theory. It was the idea of the cell theory. It was first put forth by a scientist whose name is Scaliger. Okay, so first, who was the Scaliger? Scaliger is the German botanist. Where we see a German botanist whose name is Matthias Jakob Scaliger. Matthias Jakob Scaliger in the year 1838. In 1838, he is the first person to put forth the idea. He had put forth the idea that cells were put forth the idea that cells were the unit of life. He saw some of the metabolic functions in the cell. Okay, so by using that particular discovery or by that research, he gave or he had given the idea that cells were the unit of life. Okay, in which organism he has found and he has given that cells are the unit of life means that is units of life, unit of structure in plants. In which organism we had given that cells are the unit of life or unit of structure of the plant means that it is the in plants. Okay, next again, whatever his co-worker was there. Again, what are that co-workers are? Who are that? Who was that co-workers? See here, in the year 1839. First, what he told? He told he had given the idea that cells are the structural unit of life or structural unit of structure in the plant. Okay, that it was given by the Matthias Jacob, and that structures are the cells in whom? In the plants. But the same thesis was applied on the animals. By whom? By a zoologist. The name was there. That is the Theodor Scammon. Okay. So this is about some discovery. Only they had given the idea, not they had discovered. Till now they had not. They had not described the cell theory. First they had given the idea. Then in the next class we will discuss some more things about the cell theory. Okay, thank you.